Now that the UAW stand-up strike has ended and a tentative agreement is on the table and has been reached with all three Detroit automakers, how soon can the industry get back on its feet?
That's the question. Keep in mind, just under 50,000 of the union's about 150,000 auto workers actually stepped onto a picket line over those 6 weeks, and some plants are now already back to operating near full capacity. But thousands of other workers at third-party auto suppliers were also affected.
And for that part of the story, we are joined now by Assistant Professor of Supply Chain Management at the Illich School of Business at Wayne State University, Rob McAnwall. And Professor, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
So we have been covering this strike extensively. It has taken a while. Initially, what are your thoughts on what we're seeing now and just the impact, like we said, on the industry and how soon we could see things getting back on track?
So my impression is things are going to be back pretty soon, and it's too hard to tell, how much the financial losses have occurred. And right now, it's too early to tell about this. But I was looking at Ford Motor Company's Q3 financial statement, and they estimated that this resulted in $100 million, so the whole strike event. So if you look at all three major auto companies, and it's going to be significant, but I'm glad this is over and things will be back in up and running very soon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are glad. The three automakers have each announced layoffs, some of them temporary layoffs, at least as they announced them at the time. And it wasn't just the workers, the UAW workers who were on the picket line. People at suppliers and people at plants that weren't striking were temporarily laid off. From what you have heard, what happens for them now? Are they immediately going back as well, or are they still waiting to find out?
I have a few colleagues and friends who work in the auto industry, and I've been learning about when the organizations and typically suppliers lay off, and I'm glad that it didn't happen significantly. But in those cases, when you have the layoffs, it's a little hard to get back, the employees back in the operation. So it may take time, like a week or 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So this may cause some disruptions, and but again, as you know, we have been through the pandemic, and the organizations have learned how to deal with the disruptions. So we are actually moving from now just-in-time supply chains to just-in-case supply chains. So, I'm glad that people are now aware about the just-in-case time operations and just-in-time operations as well.
You mentioned those suppliers. In terms of seeing some of those disruptions, do you think it'll be the smaller ones or the bigger ones that see the major impact?
I would say it will be more smaller suppliers, and very heavily dependent on those three auto companies. Large suppliers are typically, diversified, and they have risks, but those risks are, again, spread out, and it's small suppliers that I'm more worried about.
Yeah. By all accounts, these three tentative deals with the big three automakers are a big win for the auto workers. Do you think those in the supply chain who are not governed by that contract also see it that way?
So here's the interesting thing. My research focuses on the current research I'm taking on is looking at the social contagion theory, which says, some behaviors are going to be contagion. So my impression is that some of these events have contagion effects, which means, if somebody has looked into, this has worked for them now, maybe it will work for them as well. So it may cause some of, the contagion effects and spillover effects throughout the supply chain. I'm talking about tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 and tier 3. So it's really hard to actually quantify those spillover effects. So, but I'm looking for a more optimistic sort of, situation in the coming few weeks.
Sure. All right, Professor Rob McAnwall from the Illich School of Business at Wayne State University. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.